Hi, and welcome to Alaskan and Thailand. I'm here in Hua Hin Beach again this morning, about 6:30 a.m. The tide's up a little higher. It's on its way out now. It was up high last night. Beautiful morning, nice and cool here. It's never really hot in the mornings here. I really like the morning. That's why I don't miss out on the mornings. You do, you're just gonna wake up with heat every day, so that's not good. But anyway, today I thought I'd talk about what it takes to make it here in Hua Hin. Start off with number one, you need the money, and you can get by on cheap. This town is designed for rich people, and I mean filthy rich. There's 5-star hotel living around here, 5-star everything around here. If you want it and you got the money for it, man, you can live like a movie star around here and be it comfortable. I'm sure I'm going to see some famous people someday because there's a lot of wealth around here just looking at the houses and stuff. So in my mind, I've done my budget before, and I'm really hard to keep track. I don't use any transportation. I eat street food. My rent is only 340 US a month. So that's my rent, 340. My electric's only 15, 16, $18 a month. My water's like $3, $4, or $5 a month. So the budget wise in that ain't real hard to living. And then you can eat street food. Food is one of my bigger expenses. I spend a couple $100 on food a month. I try to eat quality protein more than just rice and stuff. I don't eat rice and noodles. So I'm constantly just buying fish, pork, chicken, beef, whatever. And mostly that kind of stuff. And I eat fruit too, some fruit. So yeah, your food expense kind of for me is kind of one of my bigger expenses other than anything else. And like I said, I don't travel. I don't have any bill for rent and anything or hire and grab or anything. I walk everywhere I go. That's the beauty of this place. And I really don't need to go any further than where I would need to go. So that's kind of where I am. So in my mind, I can get by on, I think I figured it up. I spend around 1,300 US a month. And I'm not out, I don't drink at the bars either. So that's another thing. I'm not getting a massage. Actually, one of my big expenses is getting a massage chair every day. That's $3. And I get a coffee and tip them. So that's like almost another $3. So $6 a day just in coffee and massage chairs. And that adds up over a month to like $180, I think, something like that. 3 times 30, $90 for the coffee and $90 for the. So yeah, I can add up. Small things you add can add to your budget. So anyway, I didn't want to go into that too much, but yeah, it takes me about $1,300 a month to make it here. You could get by on less, and I'm sure a lot do. After that, then you need the mental attitude to make it here. A lot of people don't have that attitude. They've come maybe from a richer, nicer place too. You got to think some guy that came from a beautiful vineyard in Northern California comes here and might not like it. There's things that are not likable about this place that normal people, the air gets dirty and the water's not that clean and funky smells coming out of the ditches and sewers and stuff here and there. So for some people, this ain't the place. And then that can turn you off, if they're not used to Asia life. Although here it's real clean, but if you get into other areas and places, you can get into where there's beggars approaching you every day, and that'll wear on you. If you have to walk by little kids that are hungry every day and they coming up running to you begging, and then you gave them some one day and then you got to walk by them again every day, you're going to want to give them something every day or they're going to want you to. So there's things that will turn you off about Asia. The dogs, the animals, maybe the animal cruelty might, there's, like I say, that's one of the things that you might not fit in. Some people just don't fit in. For me, where I came from a place where the living was real hard and real tough and no amenities at all. I didn't even have running water in my house. I took a steam bath. That's how I stayed clean. I had a 55-gallon drum in a little room, and we lit that on fire with the rocks and splashed on it and sweated and then washed up. That's how I kept clean. So for me to even have a running shower and a flush toilet, I'm in Fat City over here, man. I ain't going nowhere. But yeah, like I say, some people that came from a better life might not like it, so far, most of the people I've talked to really do like it here. They think it is nice. And I've seen a few that said that didn't fit in though too. So keep that in mind. I've seen a couple get on the plane, go back after a month saying, no, this ain't for me. And I can't say they're wrong about anything, you know, that didn't fit them or their lifestyle or their personality. And that brings us to another one. You've got to have the personality to do it. You can't be a hot-headed kind of guy, an impatient guy, a demanding kind of guy. You got to take life as it comes here in Asia. Slow down. You're retired. Take it easy. Don't get upset. I've had guys tell me that when they were talking to, like, you know, immigration and stuff. I was livid, they said. It made me run home and I was just livid. You don't want to be livid here. You just be calm and collective and take things as they come. Oh, there's a little roadblock. Yeah, we'll just take our time and go around that roadblock and make sure we get it all done, you know. Don't get annoyed because somebody stepped in line in front of you. Get out of here, I was here first. Or, you know, you're going to see that a lot. You know, a grandma will come walk right up in front of the line with everybody. Nobody will say nothing here in Asia, but if you're that guy, you got to watch it. You know, you ain't going to do well here. Those guys that are trying to form the country to fit themselves really ain't going to make it. That's one thing you're going to find out, especially here in Thailand. You know, this is their society and you better conform to it. That's just it, you know, no other way around it. So then there's other obstacles too, you know, and then you got the language barrier too. You're going to be here and you're going to have to deal with that. And that's going to create the loneliness for you because you don't speak the language. You're going to have to overcome that. And it ain't an easy one. That's the hardest one. I would say for me, it was the hardest one. The loneliness from not having a chance to speak. But here, luckily, there's other foreigners. I can go to the mall, and if I want to, on occasion, I can do small talk with other foreigners, you know, and I do talk to people like that. And that does immensely help. So you can't be secluded and stay in your hotel room because you'll get really lonely. And you got to try to fit in and try to talk to some people on occasion, or you're going to really miss that. You people have never came over to a country where you don't speak the language, so you don't understand how that it works. When your mind, it kind of eats your mind a little bit to where it really kind of sucks for you. It puts you in a lonely state, and that state's hard to get out of. It lasts a long time too. It can last for like 6 months. For me, it did. I love to talk. Everybody, we're all social animals. Even though I was a recluse in Alaska, I was kind of used to it. You know, I'd go months without talking to people. I lived out in the edge of the boonies, and no one would come visit me for a month sometimes. So for me, it wasn't that outrageous, but for somebody else that's used to just the family and stuff around you all the time, it'll be a hard thing to conquer. And conquer it, you have to. Learning the language would be the ideal situation, but most of us ain't going to learn much. So set yourself up with a few friends. It takes a while, but after a year living here, I've got a few friends, you know. A few people I see, I know I can stop and talk to this person, that person in the mall, or we see on the beach and I stop and talk to them, pet their dog or something. So just like home, if you moved over to the other side of the country in the U.S., yeah, you would speak their language, but you'd still have that lonely feeling. You'd still be not having any friends. Even though you could speak the language, you probably wouldn't be speaking still. You'd be home because you didn't know anybody. Same here, you know. But yeah, and then the language doubles, you know. And those that think, well, I can move to the Philippines and I'll skip that phase. No, it really ain't no different. It's the same thing over there, that you can find someone to speak English to. Just like here, you can look around, you'll find someone to speak English once in a while. But same with the Philippines. You can look around. A lot of people, more people do. I'll say more people do speak it, but they're not speaking English around you. All you're going to hear is Tagalog anyway. Or Bisaya. You're going to hear their language. You're not going to hear them speaking English to make you feel at home and warm like you never left. No, you're going to feel like you're in an Asian country and everybody's speaking a different language. That's exactly how you're going to feel. But anyway, those are just a few tips that I'm going to help you overcome things you should think about when you get here, because those things are going to hit you. And they're the ones you don't think about. You know, everybody's worried about their cash in their bank account. And those are things you do have to worry about too. Make sure your cash in your bank account's in order. But also you got to think about keeping your mind in order and be able to deal with everybody. Deal with nothing. Well, there's a little bit going on. I'll give you a look around before I shut her down. Thought I'd show you this episode here. Yeehaw. These guys are the owners of the Singha Beer Company. They own like 15 jet skis and this tractor and boats and everything. They act like they own the beach too. But hey, you know, all that salt water is really not good. I'm a mechanic and I know all about heavy equipment, but they got so much money they could buy another one. I wish I was his friend. I like his boat. Boston Whaler. You wouldn't see that with a Merc on the back. Only in Thailand. You can park over here. If I had rich, if I was rich, fellas, that's what I'd be doing right there. Have me boat and tractor. I started driving a tractor when I was about 12 years old on the farm. Less than that, actually. About 12, 10. Well, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Check back every day for new uploads. See you in the next one.